From inside Ralph Engelstad Arena, it's time for North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. North Dakota sweeps St. Cloud State this past weekend to clinch at least a share of the regular season NCHC championship. UND also clinches home ice for the NCHC quarterfinals. Good to be back with you, and Coach, good to be back with you again. Congratulations on your sweep of St. Cloud State this weekend. You checked off a couple of those team goals that you've talked about all season long.
Yeah, you know, it's just about making small gains every weekend. We've talked about that all year. You got to keep moving forward in this league, and our guys did a good job both nights. We took advantage of a great home crowd, great atmosphere, and played two real good hockey games.
As you look at it, Dave, and reflect over the two nights as a whole, was one of the winning edge for you what you did 5-on-5 and limiting their possession time in the offensive zone 5-on-5?
Well, that's a part of it, but you know, really only a part of it. I mean, all the pieces of the game have to fit together. I thought we did a good job in our specialty teams. I thought we always had an answer. You know, if we had a little bit of a sag, I always thought we had an answer to that sag and some good pushback. No question, defensively we did a good job, and our 5-on-5 play was key for us.
All right, Dave, when we come back, we'll take a look at the highlights. Kick it off with Friday night here on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Welcome back, North Dakota and St. Cloud State. This series has been very even the past 10 games or so, Dave, as we take a look at the highlights. And coming into Friday night's game, the Huskies 3-0-1 in the last 4 trips to the Ralph. But your guys were ready coming out of the gates on Friday night.
Well, you know, I think, Dan, we've just been working to build week in and week out. And you know, this is the next step in our process. And absolutely, we were ready to play. Our guys were ready to play. This is a big series for us with an awful lot on the line.
You have been consistently good to begin games here for a number of weeks now, I think.
Yeah, that's a team mentality. That's, you know, the guys in the locker room know what they need to do to be prepared. And more importantly, they know how we want to play from the drop of the puck.
Nick Schmaltz with one of the highlight reel goals of the year here to put you up 1-0.
Well, you need guys to be difference makers, and no question, Nick was a difference maker on this. Great little touch pass from Steph Patton out to him there, but a real special play to score that goal.
You had a lot of good shifts this weekend immediately following goals. One of them came right after this goal.
Well, and that's, you know, again, that's a whole key is to having an answer to different parts of the hockey game. Whether you score a goal or get scored on, you want to have a good shift coming back.
Austin Pagansky setting up Connor Gorder, crashing the paint, and then you keep the pressure on. 2.5 minutes left in the first period. You're on the power play, and Nick Madsen making good decisions here, finding Brendan O'Donnell.
Great vision by Nick. Really good movement by number 21, Brendan O'Donnell there, just finding that soft spot for the one-timer.
Well, O'Donnell's numbers speak for themselves. You are 20-0-1 when O'Donnell scores a goal. It's 2-0 here. And again, immediately after that goal, a first shift, a turnover, you get a scoring chance again. You kept the pressure on in this first period and really limited what St. Cloud State did in the offensive zone.
Yeah, we had an outstanding period. And just that was big Austin Pagansky just coming in, pressuring the puck, creating the turnover, and you know, the rest of the shift kind of speaks for itself here.
Right, so you have a strong opening period, outshoot St. Cloud State 10-3, grab a 2-0 lead, and really establish play in the opening 20 minutes of the game. Second period now, you're going to extend the lead just under 6 minutes into the period, and again, Austin Pagansky is going to go to work, put it on, and Connor Gorder will redirect it in.
Yeah, you know, and this line all weekend long. This
well,
is
they
just,
were good.
You know, just off of a simple outlet cycle play to the weak side yellow, and Nick Madsen's involved there. The entire line is involved, and that puck finds the back of the net.
So it's 3-0 here, just less than 6 minutes into the period. You almost make it 4-0 here. Parks and McMillan going to work, and Lindgren will come up with a big save.
Yeah, great save here. You know, it would have been nice to be able to build the lead. We ended up giving up the power play goal, which kind of restarted the game a little bit for St. Cloud State.
Yeah, Zane McIntyre back the other way here, stopping David Morley. And then a little bit later in the period, after a turnover, Dick Matson's going to come up with a good defensive play and really thwart out a 3-on-1. It looked risky at this time here with the 3-on-1.
Yeah, it was, I think we're going to see the good slide play here by Nick coming back. He does a real good job. Well timed. This is a veteran defenseman making a veteran play as he times that slide. And
similar to the late stages of the first period, Dave, you had good pressure in the late stages to exit the second period.
Yeah, again, it was, we had some ups and downs in this second period, but just the presence and the wherewithal on the bench of the guys to know what is coming next and how to deal with it, I think is becoming a real strength of this team.
So it's 3-1 at the end of third period now. St. Cloud State goes on the power play, and after Troy Stetcher blocks one of many shots that he blocked this weekend, Joey Bennick will get the goal to make it a 3-2 game here.
Yeah, we made a small error here. We got a little jumpy with our middle forward there. That opens up the pass lane, and that's a tough play for a goaltender to stop. It's a cross ice backdoor play that found a hole.
Then a series of defensive plays really preserved the win for your hockey team. Couple stops here by McIntyre on Johnny Brodzinski.
Yeah, you're always going to need a couple of saves, but these are front side saves that Zane's going to be comfortable making. I thought our group did a real good job for the vast majority of the third period. Once it went 3-2, I really liked our game. I thought we did a good job and limited the real tough opportunities. Zane had to make some good saves, but we're confident that he's going to make those for us.
Your penalty kill late. You saw a block by Ledoux and a Luke Johnson cleared. Then Mark McMillan with a great play. Pressure up ice that leads to a St. Cloud State penalty.
Yeah, just individual efforts, and this is good up ice pressure by Mark, and that draws the 2-minute minor.
And that takes away St. Cloud State's power play. They did go with the extra attacker in the final seconds off the face-off. Now the shot doesn't get through, and you hang on. Another nail biter here on Friday night.
Yeah, right down to the wire as you'd expect.
Exactly. So you get the win 3-2. With that win, you clinch home ice in the first round of the playoffs. Your players reacting to the win and home ice.
That's huge. You look at top to bottom of the league, it's ridiculous, the parity, and you want every edge you can in playoffs. I mean, anything could happen with how good these teams are, and to have that home ice in your back pocket is huge. And it's the first goal on our team goal list, and we're proud to accomplish it.
I thought we played one of our best periods of the year in our first period there. I thought we were dominant. We worked their D down low. I think that's when we were at our best, and then we kind of sat back in the second. Took some penalties. Their power play is really good, so I think we got to stay out of the box. But all in all, it's a great team win. We bared down there in the last 10 minutes to steal the win.
Dave, home ice for the 13th consecutive season, 11 home ice appearances in your tenure as head coach. That's so difficult to accomplish.
It is, Dan. It's the first goal that's on the list each and every year. And this year, it's taken us till the second last weekend of the season to be able to accomplish that. Even going into the final weekend, Dan, we're the only team to have that checked off.
Well, we'll shift our focus to Saturday night next year as North Dakota looks to clinch at least a share of the Penrose Cup and complete the sweep of St. Cloud State.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sous Shop at Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Welcome back. North Dakota and St. Cloud State Saturday night. UND going for the sweep. Dave, let's take a look at the highlights. And you broke out the black sweaters at home for just the third time in the history of this building.
Well, this was senior night, and this was a request from our senior class a long time ago. We felt it was one that was important to honor for them.
Certain mentality the guys have when they're wearing the black sweaters, isn't there?
They seem to have that.
Yeah. Good start to your hockey game here in the first period again.
Really good start for us right off the drop. We were going and moving, and again scored that all important first goal.
Yeah. Stefan Patton and Colton St. Clair doing good work down the hole here to create some traffic in front of Lindgren.
Yeah, those guys, they're just they've been two good wingers, two heavy bodies with Nick Schmaltz, and this line's done a pretty good job for us.
You talk about that all-important goal. You get it here in the first period, and it all starts with Connor Gorder, Brendan O'Donnell doing some hard work, and eventually they're going to pound the paint for the goal.
Yeah, you know, and you saw the initial finish check there on number 7 by Big Austin Paganski once again, and then from there it's just simple cycle plays, a whip play to the net, and bodies flying everywhere, and the puck ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, 1-0 lead, and Paganski, the freshman, he really fought through traffic right at the paint area as he sprawls to put this puck in.
He started the whole play by being F1 on the forecheck, and then he stays with this. This is a very athletic play to stay with it and jam it home.
1-0 here, and then one of the biggest stretches of the night as St. Cloud State goes on a full 2-minute 5-on-3. You're going to kill this with a number of quality block shots.
Yeah, our guys, you know, this is one thing we actually reviewed late last week in our penalty kill practice. Dane Jackson really honed in on it, and our guys did a tremendous job. You see the first shot block there. There's several more to come. Yeah. And what a boost that is, no matter what the results of those shot blocks are.
Mark McMillan blocks Brodzinski. He would later leave the game and not return. Then later Troy Stetcher getting in the way. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to lay down and try to block Brodzinski's shots, but Troy Stetcher and your guys did.
That puck hurts a little bit no matter whose stick it's coming off of, but you see Troy with his second shot block, and then right towards the end of it here, I think we'll finish it off with one more shot block by Paul Ledoux.
And right now the crowd is thunderous.
Well, and that's the impressive thing with our fans, with our crowd. They understand what they just watched and the extra effort that they saw put forth there. And I think for our players to hear them appreciate that, it's a huge lift on the bench.
The building was incredibly loud, the loudest it's been in a long time. I think Tucker Pullman nearly gives you a 2-0 lead here. He rings this puck off the post as you had about a minute of power play entering the second period. And then there were fewer overall chances in the second period, but did you still think you were carrying play?
Yeah, we did. We had the better of the chances in the second period. We had a good period. We were able to build our lead, and those are all positives, you know, as you go through a hockey game.
Drake Kajula here cutting to the net, stopped on the play, and then at 6:58 of the second period, you'll go up 2-0. And again, Brendan O'Donnell, good work along the far wall to keep the play alive here and eventually lead to the Gorder goal.
Yeah, if you see a larger angle view of this is Brendan reading the play and taking away the far yellow, so there's no easy outlet. That starts the whole play, and then, you know, again, it's some simple plays on the cycle. The guys stay with it, and Connor Gorder makes a good heads-up play to tuck it in.
Well, good work by Gorder here. He actually out-muscles Nick Oliver at the post to get position here.
Yeah, and that's something that you see. You know, Gordy is just so strong, like a fire hydrant on those skates. He's hard to knock off the puck. And it wasn't much of a contest there.
A fire hydrant on skates. I like that. Brendan O'Donnell is a shooter. You call him that. But talk about his baseline play and other elements of the game these days, Dave.
Well, everything he's doing is just fast. He's playing the game fast. He's comfortable with every, all the details of systems, with the tendencies of his line mates. He trusts them and knows what they're going to do. Because of that, he's playing fast.
Things were rolling up and down the ice here for part of this period Saturday night.
Yeah, there was a little up and down. There's no question, and that's going to happen with these two teams. In our case, as we've been able to build the lead and build that 2-0 lead, you don't want to give up too much. And we got a little over-aggressive a couple of times, and that gave up these one-and-done type opportunities.
Final minutes of the second period, then you go back on the power play, and Nick Matson, who is playing as well as anybody for you here in the second half of the season, bangs in the power play a goal, and you're up 3-0 here.
Well, again, much similar to Brendan O'Donnell. He's just so comfortable with everything that he's doing. He's doing everything quick, fast, and hard. That's just a great aggressive play on the power play. That's one of his options, is the shooting option, and he doesn't think twice about it. And it goes off a skate, but it's a good hard shot with great net front by Steph Patton.
Nick said that Brad Barry, who works with your power play, had reminded him that shooting is one of his options here, and he said, be aggressive with it.
Yeah, and it's he'd already used different options throughout the weekend. He had the look to Brendan O'Donnell and a few others. And this was a great time to use that shooting option, like I said, with great net front.
No doubt about it. Third period now. St. Cloud State has a pushback, but Zane McIntyre is here to shut the door. 29 saves on the game, 12 in the period, and he passes Toby Kavalavog and John Casey in career wins at UND with this win.
Zane's been a workhorse for us this year. There's no question. And again, it comes to third periods. I thought our team other than a couple of flurries, played very well. Gave Zane the front side saves, which he's comfortable with, and he answered in turn and did a great job.
The stick salute, and then of course senior night, and we watched the video, and then the seniors took their victory skate around the Ralph. Very emotional moments here at the end of the game, Dave.
Yeah, it's always a real emotional time, and I was really impressed with the number of fans. Almost the entire student body stayed. Most of the people in the seats were in attendance to watch this.
A time to reflect because they are seniors, but still so much ahead of you.
Well, you've got to be able to compartmentalize this portion out, and I think our senior group was very focused on not having this weekend all be about them. It was about 2 wins, and our team was able to accomplish that. Now this is their time.
And the seniors with their own sticks salute. We spoke with Connor Gorder, Troy Stetcher, and Nick Matson following the win.
It got emotional there at the end after the game, but we came in tonight just wanting to win outright and getting 3 points that we could. And, everyone battled up and, played their roles and, did what we had to do to get the win tonight.
Even though it was in the first period, how big of a factor was the kill on their 5-on-3 power play?
It's huge. It's a full 5-on-3, 2-minute power play, obviously, and with a 1-goal lead, so anything can happen within that time, and we just had to bear down and obviously clear pucks and block shots. So, it may hurt now, but at the end of the day, it's the results we wanted by getting that win.
It was tough, just focusing on the game, to be honest. There's a lot going on with the race for the Penrose and obviously senior night. I just thought we showed a lot of maturity there, kind of doing our best to focus in on the job at hand. It is tough. I think your mind kind of tends to wander a bit, but especially in that third period, we focused in and got the job done. It was good to see.
So with home ice in hand and a share of the Penrose Cup in hand, UND heads to Miami for the regular season finale series. We'll preview that next.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Welcome back, Dave, as you prepare for Miami. Any update on Mark McMillan and his status moving forward?
Well, I think we'll have an official update a little bit later in the week. At the time that we're talking here, we don't have everything definitive yet with our medical staff, so we'll wait until we have those facts and details.
All right, Nick Matson was a healthy scratch for 4 games back in December. He's a senior. It must make you feel good to see how he's rebounded here in the second half of the season.
Yeah, he's been a real special player for us, just the way he's performed on the ice, and the parts that nobody is able to see is what he's doing for us off the ice. His leadership, the calm that he brings to the locker room. He's such a sharp, intelligent guy. He's been through a lot of these battles, and he's been a great voice for us in the locker room.
Zane McIntyre up for the Mike Richter Award for the best goaltender in the nation. Well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. He's one of the top, not just one of the top goaltenders, but he's one of the top players in the country. He absolutely is a leader for our group in his role.
All right, here we go to Miami. Final series of the regular season. No one's surprised that the Penrose Cup is still up for grabs as we head to the final weekend, but what a weekend of opportunity for your hockey team.
Well, there's still 4 teams that are vying for home ice, and only 3 of those teams are going to get them. So that's how close the league is. Another high-level series going into Miami. This will be a great series. They still have an opportunity at a piece of the Penrose Cup. We obviously have our own goals in mind, but most importantly, just another great high-level series on the road in the NCHC.
You split here again with Miami earlier this season. What kind of series are you expecting out there?
Well, just a real hard series. I think both teams, you look at the groups on either side here, there's a lot of offensive ability, but both teams really take pride in the defensive side of the game as well. So it should be great hockey. I think there'll be some pace and up and down, an up and down nature to it, but there's going to be some grit, some grind, and a lot of good defensive play.
Should be a heck of a series in Oxford. Good luck this weekend, Dave, and we'll recap it next week here on the show.
Thank you.
We're back to take a look at the pairwise and hear from players as they head to the final weekend in the chase for the Penrose Cup.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
The chase for the Penrose Cup comes down to this final weekend. North Dakota at Miami. UND goes into the series 6 points ahead of the Red Hawks, so 1 point in any fashion this weekend for North Dakota gives them the Penrose Cup outright and the #1 seed for the NCHC quarterfinals. If North Dakota ends up with the #1 seed, they'll have Colorado College in the opening round. If they end up with the #2 seed, they'll have Western Michigan. But the players have one thing on their mind. That's winning the Penrose Cup outright.
We're going to go there with a goal in mind to win 2 games like we do every weekend. So I don't think it changes our mindset. Obviously, it's nice to know that, but we want to win this thing.
Obviously, we want the outright win here at the Penrose, but we also want that first seed going into the tournament and or the playoffs, and you know that's a huge difference in our locker room right now.
And with its sweep of St. Cloud State last weekend, North Dakota rises to #1 in the pairwise, and the NCHC is as strong as ever. 3 of the top 4 teams in the pairwise are NCHC teams, including Miami at #4. And North Dakota has another Player of the Week. Senior defenseman Nick Mattson, playing the best hockey of his career, wins Defensive Player of the Week honors. And get this, Mattson is the 6th North Dakota defenseman to win league honors this season. North Dakota and Miami this weekend. We'll recap it next Tuesday on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol.